Look at that. I mean, I'm getting this down pat now. And
Yeah.
the unfortunate thing is, or fortunate thing, is we're going to switch things up and we're going to be going over to a new recording studio. This is the last week. So I'm going
Oh,
to send an
okay.
update for our few listeners here. We're going to send an update that says, I think the studio name is going to be called TTKU. So I even had we've even
Ooh,
personalized it.
branding.
And I made a cool little logo for our.
No
So
way.
it's not going to say like Blue Stock Doc and all this. It's going to say actual TTKU.
That's fun. I do like Blue Stock Talk, but it's hard for me to say, so I'm happy to change it up.
All right, I'm putting a "We Are Live" on LinkedIn, and next that'll stay the same. This is more for you, Nyla.
Yeah, I try to do it beforehand so that, and I link to just you so that they follow you and figure it out because I don't want to be messing with LinkedIn while I'm trying to record. It
That's
breaks
fair.
it every time.
That's fair. Yeah, I think maybe
So
we just need to have our own our own page. You know, like our own. Gosh, this is just.
I don't know. That seems like a lot of work.
It's okay. I'm the one doing it, so you just get to sit back.
Sure. Sure, go knock yourself out then.
Well, I think a lot of things have happened this week, and the only way I know that is because it's been crazy on LinkedIn. I feel like everyone's been talking about all these things that FDA is coming out with, and it's pretty intense. Like, there's a lot of stuff. So, anyway, do you want to start with your joke?
Yeah, sure. In kind of in the vein of the Artemis 2 launch yesterday, which was very cool. Got to watch a space shuttle go up. Why can't NASA send a duck to space?
Because that would be quackers. No?
It's probably better than the answer. The bill would be astronomical.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah. Got animal and space
And
jokes today.
that's true, 2 for 1. I went to, I finished my crazy back-to-back conferences this past week, and I went to Neurotech Forum, which was amazing. It's Octane, the Orange County group, does an amazing group focal or focus forums. Like one is ophthalmic, like one's cardiovascular, and this is their neuroscience one, which was so interesting. I got to hang out with Vivek Pinto of Precision, and
Nice.
it was super fun. But I tried some live jokes on stage, and I mostly got groans.
No.
But the one that seemed to slap, as the kids are saying, is why don't brains like to take a bath? Because they don't want to get brainwashed. So that was the only.
That's good. I like that. I like that one. That's good.
And the other one that I liked and my kids like is what kind of fish does brain surgery? A
Like,
neurosurgeon. There were a lot of neurosurgeons in the room, and I feel like they didn't. They were
they,
like, ugh. But I'm like, I know you're gonna use it. I know you're gonna go into your patients and be like, I got a joke. Anyway, jokes aside,
good thing our audience isn't a bunch of
no,
neurosurgeons. We've got much funnier people in
because
the
we don't
chat.
have much of an audience. So the likelihood of
Perfect.
neurosurgeon is
We
extremely
we've
low.
dialed it in perfect.
Exactly. I think one of our listeners today is my dad. He is joining us. So,
Nice.
hey, Dad. Shout out to my dad. Love you. I didn't even put together an agenda because it's just you today.
I threw it
You did?
together
Oh
a
my
little bit.
gosh, thank you.
Well, it's later in the day for me. Like I'm not wake. I'm already had my coffee and
Yeah,
everything, so
I'm
I did throw it into the. Hopefully, I put it on the right date. Yeah, I did. 4/2. That's today.
okay. Now I gotta
Um,
find it. So go,
I'm.
you
But you
start. I'm gonna
mentioned
mute myself and
Vivek.
click around.
Yeah, you mentioned Vivek though. And that's awesome. I haven't seen him in forever, and actually earlier for my I did like a local raps event, which were just the Pittsburgh ones, just like launching. And Vivek also is a Pitt grad, like a lot of the FDA folks. But we actually did like a fun, like student oriented one for the local group and like questions about getting into regulatory and everything like that. So I doubt any of them figured out how to get on this week, but they might listen later. And shout out to that group. They were really engaged. It was a cool event, and it's cool to see like the Pittsburgh local group getting bigger for wraps kind of coming off the conference and things like that. So
That's
yeah, it was a lot
cool.
of fun. Yeah. Um, so I put this on here. We've got some like regulation stuff on here and a bunch of interesting stuff around reclassifications, but I also want to shout out, there's a local company here in Pittsburgh um, that they make a solar powered oxygen generator, and it's really cool. And they've been partnering with countries in Africa because like lack of oxygen is a huge like worldwide concern. It's less so in the US, but like getting oxygen tanks to places that aren't like what the infrastructure is bad is like a huge issue. And they won the children's prize in like Africa. And it was a big deal for like Oxycare Uganda, like won this big thing and it's utilizing their technology. So I just thought it was very cool. We'll share the link to that. I think public health wise, we focus a lot on FDA and US, but like this is going to have like worldwide impact, which is just very cool. And that group is very cool. So shout out to them.
That's awesome. I also,
Yeah.
yeah, please include links. And I think the impressive thing to me, and I shared this with FDA one time because we submitted a file to FDA, and there are quite a few companies that they know that their device is probably not going to be the mega hit seller, or it's the 510K program, so there's maybe other devices on the market already, but their goal is to get 510K clearance because that does open the door for a lot of other countries, right? There's like countries that say, we do not have the infrastructure, we don't have the agency like FDA that clears things or can review things, but if you get FDA clearance, then you can come and sell into our country. I know some folks feel like, they're just, using America's like resources in order to get, to have us review their things so they can sell elsewhere. But I'm also like, is that totally bad? We're like trying to help other humans and countries.
So,
And a lot of them are like for African countries where and the technology is, as you said, like solar, or if there is an interruption in electricity, or there is some sort of interference that happens, that the device can keep working in some way, which isn't usually a problem in a lot of states in the US, but it could be in other countries, or during war, like during a lot of the crises that are going on in the world right now. Like some of these devices are the really helping keep kids alive, which is really important. So
it it would be because I remember having to review some of that stuff when I was in the reviewer, and it's actually easier to do that for like PMA accessories. There was always a concern to do it on the 510 case because you don't want to have a quote unquote bad predicate. Not that they're unsafe, but they might not be the access. There's better products out there like that are available to US hospitals sometimes. So one place we did see a lot of areas, and it'd be cool if the FDA actually like had a program for like, you know, these types are for specific to health access, type labeling even, where it was like if you have better options, please use them. But where we did see some success was on reprocessing and extended shelf life, because like validating that you can re-sterilize things that you wouldn't usually, it'd be a disposable in the US, but like use them multiple times because we validated some of the, you know, end user sterilization stuff, because, those types of things get used a ton. Those catheters get used over and over again, whereas they're single use in the US. So that was cool.
yeah.
All right, moving down agenda. Conference is coming up in May. Again, hey, we're up to 9 people. If any of the students that I talked to last night or earlier this week, Tuesday night, do join, that's a great way to get some education for how it's good for any time in your professional career, but I really think it's good for beginners or startups that don't really have a sense of how the FDA works, I'm happy they brought it back because they
Yeah.
didn't do it last year.
Yeah, no,
And
it's huge.
it's a good,
It's so
yeah,
fun too. Like if you get to go, I don't know, it's like you get to have reviewers sitting there and like giving their hot takes on some stuff. I mean, it's usually very
yeah,
scripted. Like their PowerPoint presentations and everything is like they're very set ahead of time. But man, I would learn a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's really
yeah,
really good.
yeah. I'm gonna try to get down there because I'm closer
Yeah,
than you are.
yeah, you are.
It's in DC, but it is available online. So
Yes,
I think we posted the link last week. We'll do it again this week.
yeah. And well, you posted something else about hiring, right? Like I just on LinkedIn, I saw there's so many groups at FDA that are hiring right now. So if you're local, because I don't think they're doing any remote, it has to be you have to be near Silver Spring. But I don't know. I always have people reaching out and being like, "How do I get
Or
to?"
willing to move to.
Yeah, or willing to move. Yeah. But it's like, oh my gosh, if you have the opportunity to do it, go work at FDA. Like,
Yeah. The one thing that um, is notable is that I think USA Jobs only looks like they have like 4 positions open. And each of those positions are then being like dumped into the pool where they're going to hire hundreds of people out of it. So don't be afraid if you see like 9,000 people have applied for that job. There are a lot of jobs underneath that application. But also, I've been doing my best to repost every FDA person because they are often, I think like Michael Hoffman from, um, is on charge. Is like, don't just apply, reach out and tell me you've applied because it is one big pool. It's hard for them to discern are people applying for specific positions in specific review groups. So if you are interested in the FDA and see a repost from me or Allison, like reach out to the people we are reposting, or if you need to reach out to feel more comfortable doing it through me, I'm happy to kind of facilitate that communication because it is a great job, despite, you know, administration and all that kind of stuff. Um, I mean, it's just tough. I don't know. Did you see that big medtech dive article from earlier this week with like cracks? They're showing that it's a pretty in-depth. They got a lot of current reviewers and um, unofficial current reviewers' opinions and ex-reviewers like Phil Desjardins and some of the people at Hogan and Lovell commented and just their viewpoints of how it's tough inside the agency right now and kind of the cracks are starting to show over from the last year. But hopefully some of these positions and getting staff back will help.
yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it was FDA, but there's some groups that are like intentionally not. They don't want to rehire anybody that they did let go, which is also an interesting. It's like, no, we don't want you back. Go away.
That could be just probably people are pretty vindictive about being let go unceremoniously.
I don't think
They
people
don't want
want.
them coming back in and knocking over tables.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think
But
about that. What's next? I wanted to.
we have
Yeah, go ahead.
some of the reclass stuff that came up this week. I can't remember. Did we talk about the diagnostic devices for melanoma last week with Alexia?
Yeah, I feel like we did in a previous week, but go ahead. Yeah, we did talk about the reclassification.
We
But
did.
bring it up again. Why
Okay,
not?
well then it was actually on this. I think it became official. It might have been a proposed, but it was actually on the CDRH news for like exactly a week ago, so I couldn't remember if we actually talked about it. But yeah, um, kind of they. It was an interesting thing of the reclassification for optical diagnostic devices related to skincare and melanoma, and they. I know we talked about it, but it was how there's a very clear distinction of like what was going to be downclassified and what was going to remain the same, and what they felt the risks were. And I thought it was an interesting kind of inside look into like how the FDA, the Federal Register notice, like really gets into like how they thought about it, and you don't always get that much transparency for the decision making.
True.
And there was panel discussions and things like that. So um, and it was a ton of work for the folks involved on this. So I don't know, Allison, I think you talked a little bit about it too.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I think because it was Shlomit that who's at FDA who
Yeah.
had worked really hard on it, and she posted something on LinkedIn, and I was like, oh yeah, it's awesome. You just know like things get released, like there's things that it's just like, oh here, there's this new guidance or whatever, and what you don't see are like the hours and weeks and years of work that's gone into that from like the review team side or for the folks that have like oftentimes volunteered or self-selected to be like, I will do that. I will help with that writing and like with that change in regulation. It's just like it's so much work. It's so hard. Like I mean, part of my time at FDA was like helping write a standard that we could then recognize at FDA, right? Like we could then say this standard is now like online, and we recognize it with the supplementary information sheet or like the SIS, right? And the part of the reason it was like let's do a standard was because it was going to take way longer to write a guidance document about like neurotoxicity and having that released and then reviewed or drafted, and it was like let's just do a standard, and it was actually way faster and way better. Can we talk about the recent post about real world evidence?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, their FDA just now, or they posted a link that that they're sharing 73 new examples of marketing authorizations between 2020 and 2025 that highlight how real-world evidence is shaping regulatory pathways and building on our 2021 foundational work. So they have an FDA Voices blog, which I always love. Michelle Tarver, Dr. Quoted in that. And they also have a bunch of links to like 510Ks that have come out using RWE. And one of them that is linked is my buddy Rishi from when he and I worked together at RQM Plus. And so one of his 510Ks that he helped is listed in there. So I'm like, woo! Love it when I see some friends' names.
That's awesome.
So I will include that link as well. But I like those FDA Voices blogs. Sometimes they're a little bit like cheesy, but...
Well, they're significantly better than the FDA Instagram follow, which are extremely awful.
Are they AI? Do you think that's
they're-
AI, or do you think that's like a real woman? Like,
I think that's a real woman who is just cringe, and a real dude. The finance bro guy that was up there was actually worse.
I know. I wonder if like all the comments are like, let's just have the lady.
We've discussed that we're about close enough to the same age. Did you guys have like Channel 1 in like homeroom when you were in elementary school? Is like Channel 1 News? That is what they remind me of like the high schoolers that would be like super like doing the kids news of the week. That is what the videos remind me of. Yeah. So I don't think they still have Channel 1 in homerooms, but that station was great.
Yeah, I know. It would be.
But it is very distinct personality of like MTV Kids.
Yeah. And the comments are worthwhile, like I like the comments, and some people are like, thank you, like this is exactly what we need in America, and then a lot of people are like, is this SNL? Like, is this an SNL skit?
Yeah, I thought every time I'm like, because the person who does it like has that SNL like energy though too, which doesn't like help it not sound like an SNL skit.
Yeah. Anyway, RWE, big shout out. So that's exciting.
I'll have to look at that. I actually didn't see the post. I do like the FDA Voices though, when they come out usually.
And the other post that I liked, somebody else was talking about. This is not FDA related, but the Fogarty innovation, because you and I have talked about that. They now have the nominations that are open for recognizing an innovator or team who has developed and commercialized a life-changing medical technology. So that's super exciting.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Alan posted, RIP Channel 1, died in 2018. Thank you, Alan, for... Yeah.
Can't even blame the pandemic.
No,
didn't make it.
I know, it didn't even make it.
On Other things have kind of related to like clinical evidence. The FDA put out a bunch of stuff this week about inclusion of patient preference information and how they want to consider it in decision making more. There has been that voluntary inclusion, but I feel like they're really re-upping it or kind of emphasizing it, which I think is great. There's so many devices out there that are there because like the actual standard of care is painful or has huge side effects, and the patient preference on, hey, maybe it doesn't work quite as well, but it works good enough and I don't have to deal with the side effects, should be included. And I love that the FDA is starting to like put out their systematic ways of that they have to include it, because I think some review divisions were great about it and other ones, I don't know, in my experience, would just kind of dismiss it and go, if you didn't hit your clinical trial mark, we don't care. And this is kind of an extra endpoint that will get considered, which I think is really important.
I just realized I was
Yeah, I
muted,
guess
sorry.
the
I was like,
guidance went
cool. That was all I
final
said.
like a week ago. Yeah, yeah, nice. Patient preference, Monica, it's actually a guidance that went final just like last week, um, maybe even this week. I just uh, I put it in there. It's also, there's actually several links on the CDRH news related to it, but I'm not sure. Um, they all kind of link back to the guidance. And then I think there's going to be some workshops and things like that, because most of the time, when they release the new guidance, there's a workshop around it. So I'll stay tuned for that, and we'll post. It'll probably be in the next TTK.
Yeah, I'm excited for that finally getting the attention it deserves. So.
Yeah. The other thing that was on there, and I don't think we talked about last week, and I had lost my link to tell me exactly what the new ones were, was the TAP program, which we've talked about
Yeah.
a bunch of times on here. It was for a while like restricted to, I think, cardiovascular and maybe
No.
neuro, maybe.
Was there another one?
Anyway, this is us trying to keep up, not actually keeping up.
This is a great example of us.
This is exact. I know it's out there. It's on my list of things to follow up on. They expanded the program. So for breakthrough devices I know for sure, GI and OBGYN devices, it's they're expanding TAP to be able to use the program in there. And I think we've had good experience with TAP. It's not everything they've set out for it to be, but it's still a lot, and it's been super helpful. We have a PEDS device in there too, so with the nuances and difficulties of fundraising and trying to work through feasibility stuff for PEDS devices, it's been a really good communication platform. So um, whenever I find the stupid link that tells me exactly the new ones, I will let people know. Sorry about that.
No, but I think, that's all we need to say is they expanded it.
Yeah.
That's great. And
Yeah, they expanded it. It's important.
That's important. And if people are interested, they can use the Googles and the Intertubes to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a note about Love and CDRH new. 100% agree. Like the one that I guess the last one is from March 27th, but that's when they had all of the information about patient preference information, like all the decision-making updated guidance. And they also had the incorporating voluntary patient information over the TPLC, total product life cycle. They also had a bunch of early alerts. I think we did touch on some of those last week, but they have like another update for the heating pad recall, cytoprobe recall, an early alert for the bloodline set for hemodialysis systems from Braun. I found the TAP. Here we go.
The link's broken. The one I was using. That's why I
Blame it on the link.
I do.
Likely story. Yeah, so it's now ophthalmics, cardiovascular, neurological, PMD, physical medicine devices, orthopedics, and radiological health, OH8. So and that's not just for breakthrough devices, but also ones that have step, which is cool. So yeah, there it is.
I don't think I realized you could do it. Well, I guess that's the new thing too. I don't think I realized that that was part of that update to include step devices.
I thought it always was. I thought they did allow it, but just not many companies have step.
No one, gotcha.
Think? I don't know. Maybe.
It could be. I don't think it's a super utilized program because a lot of times to get the step, those types of devices don't need clinical. So and you're so close to being able to submit right before you get the step designation
Yeah.
that you might there's not a whole lot of time there. Those are fast, lower risk products.
Yeah. So just for funsies, if people are not following the FDA LinkedIn page, please do. Like Instagram, follow it. It's good, whatever you're going for there.
Teamwork.
It's helpful. And then the LinkedIn FDA page, because I love how so they just had like Marty McCary like did I don't know, there was some sort of meeting and he like honored like the scientists and some folks and he like called people by name and said like thank you for the year that we've had, a year of reform. And then the next post right after that is about FDA seeking public input on potential market name change for certain rockfish species. Just like what? And I think people forget that it's not just like we are clearly hyper focused on medical devices, like you and I, right? But like there's so much other stuff that FDA does and like like all the cosmetic changes recently and like a lot of things going on with like CBER and CDER, of course, right? There was like a whole thing about the use, or we talked about the Bayesian methodology and like use in clinical trials for drugs and biologics. And then they also have like the National Priority Voucher Program. Like there's so many things going on, but I realize like we're just like looking at this device world. Yeah.
It 18 species of rockfish. Thanks, Alan. That's hilarious.
Thank you, Alan. Here, I'm going to show that on the stream. There we go.
I
That's
have
really important for everyone to see.
no idea why the group that reviews foods and that stuff is the same group that does like drugs, biologics, and devices. Like those should be completely separate things, but so be it.
I kind of love it though. Hey, I also was thinking, I know I'm going to see you in May, but this is a really big year because in 1976, May of 1976 was when FDA started regulating medical devices. Like this is a big birthday year for us. And all the folks that are like super into CDRH and what they, actually being able to regulate devices and, do 510Ks and support. And anyway, I think we need to throw a party. We should have like
I think so too. You know what the best place to do that is?
San Diego.
Bring back Reg AF.
Yes. I know. Okay, we're gonna have like a cake. Maybe we should do like we'll do like happy birthday medical device regulations video or something. I can edit something and it could be just.
Is this going to be like a celebrity We Are the World video?
Oh, that's such a. We could do like a happy birthday, like have it be Brady Bunch style, like all of us are singing happy birthday.
Yeah. I'm sure we could get it posted to the FDA official Instagram account because who knows who's running that thing.
I mean, and
could be us.
It actually could be. We're not going to tell. Yeah, speaking of, so my Blue Stocking Health Instagram, I've decided to kind of turn it like talks about the videos and things that I'm doing, but I've also just decided I'm going to really lean into like memes and and just like silly funny videos. So you should.
That's what it should be.
Follow me.
Your presentations you were the original. Make sure every slide has a meme on it.
So true. I was like, I don't think it's cool anymore, but I'm like, I don't know. What if I ever really cared about being
actually
cool?
Shout out to Andy Farb in cardiovascular device reviewers. He was like one of the clinical reviewers, and every time he'd go to TCT, his slides would have cats in them, and it was amazing. That is for an audience of exactly one, and that's me. But loved Andy Farb, and his presentations were great.
Well, Nels, have you seen like the Nell? He's the one who's like in charge of the customer collaboration portal.
Portal.
And so there's a little Easter eggs throughout the portal, right? Like the how to churn yak butter,
Penguins,
or like the ode to a well churned yak butter, and then his CDRH Learn. Yes, Grace, thank you. And the penguins. He always talks about penguins.
Yeah.
On CCP, and then his CDRH Learn is awesome. Like it is. I think it was CDRH Learn, and he shows how to like upload a file, and I think it's like his emotional support cuttlefish. Like there's like a folder called emotional support cuttlefish, and I just wrote to him one day. I was like, I just love everything about, like, you have to have a little bit of sense of humor with some of these things, because things can be dry, but you can zhuzh it up with some humor. And then he sent me a picture of a Christmas. I think he has like a Christmas tree with a cuttlefish on top. Anyway, I don't know. I'm like, I love that kind of humor.
Nels is great. I'm glad they let his humor squeak out of the FDA every once in a while.
Me too.
Part of me is like, I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm afraid someone will go, "Oh my God, that's there."
True. Yeah, I know. I'm like,
yeah. Good thing we have 10.
No, yeah, that's fine. Though I will say, the ones where we have guests, so we have been inviting some of our former FDA friends. We have a great lineup for the next couple weeks. It's usually like, hey, do you want to be on our live stream? And then they're like, well, okay. Those ones seem to do really, really well, Nilo. Like,
perfect. Well, that's because our friends are way more popular than we are, which is great.
And they come like prepared, and they're like, let's talk about these things that I've like researched, and you and I are like, wait, what's going on?
We do the appropriate amount of work for the name of the podcast. It's trying to keep up. That's why we bring our friends who are keeping up.
That is true. Always, yeah. What is it? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong room.
Yeah, you're in the wrong room.
I never have that problem. I told my husband that though, and he's like, "Oh, that's interesting." I'm like, You're always the smartest person in the room, aren't you? And he's like, I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm like, but you are. It's kind of true.
He's like, I'm so much smarter than these kids.
I know. I told him, I was like, you should have come to that neurotech conference with me. I was like, he's diversifying right now about like getting into more like biotech and neurotech stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's so exciting. Cool. Some of the companies that are reaching out to him and are like, will you be on our board, or will you come and, have some insight into what we're building? And I'm like, yeah. I realize the brain is such a smart and really energy efficient AI, right? Like we call it like language.
I feel like it's weird that you're just realizing that now, based on your entire life.
Like, did you know that the brain is like
our brains
AI?
Are smart?
Oh my gosh, you're right. It took me 45 years to realize this. But I think, yeah. What did someone say recently? I think it was like to, what's the OpenAI guy's name? Like, oh, it's so much energy, and like, it takes so much work to like power these AI centers and these data centers. And then he was like, yeah, but it takes a lot of energy to like feed an engineer. And I was like, that's a weird comeback to that statement.
It's like people who refer to like work as like human capital. I just want to smash them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick said you're forgetting the A in AI. Yes, it does mean artificial.
Wait, what is Alan saying? This is true. I'm not sure where that came, what that came out of, but that is true. And I have like had some weird deep dives in podcasts about pure food and quack medicine. Oh, I guess that's just Maha now. Got it. Anyway, now I get it. Sorry.
Hang on, we have to
just
show
watch
on
my artificial intelligence process out loud.
I think pure food and quack
I don't think
medicine
I have
movements
control of
were
that.
heavily intertwined in the late 1800s. Muckraking, journalism, progressive movement, and social costs were all heavily behind it. 100%. And that was like the like the jungle, and also like that was the whole point of starting FDA, right? Was some of these like like snake oil salespeople.
Although snake oil works,
This,
turns out.
yeah,
Yeah, disappointing thing. There's a lot of medical benefits to snake oil.
but like actual snake oil.
That's
Yeah.
like actual snake oil. Yeah.
Um. Yeah, the A and A. I for the longest time when I was like looking at because my name is Allison, I was always looking at AI as AL, and I was like, who's Al? Like everyone keeps talking about Al. I'm just kidding. I wasn't thinking that. Speaking of snake
This
oil,
might be time for the end of this
yeah,
one.
bad jokes.
We might have veered off.
I was gonna say, I yesterday was April Fool's Day. Last year, this day last year, or yesterday last year, was really a horrible day because it was the Rift Day, right? April Fools, they riffed a ton
Yeah.
of people, and it was like very traumatic. And there were a bunch of people that were like left outside FDA with unable to get in, and their van pools were like some of the people were inside, and they were like, I can't get home because I have been fired and I didn't know. Anyway, so it was quite a traumatic day, and I was like, but I have had this photo of these like little. Did you see my post? It was stupid, but it was like these little clothesline pins, like clothespins, and it says like "snore no more," and it was like a medical device, and I was
I
like,
did see this. Yeah.
this things are getting bad at FDA. My daughter was like, look, it'll help you with your snoring. I was like, what? Oh my gosh, they should not be selling these medical devices. So very happy to share that on my page. But yeah, April 1st, man, I was very happy to get through yesterday. I was like, I just want to.
We we had friends that they had a baby like on the 31st, but we knew she was going in to the hospital, and we hadn't gotten any updates yesterday. And it became a little bit of a, was this the most elaborate April Fool's prank ever, and she's not pregnant? And it would have been awesome. Not true. Beautiful boy, everyone's healthy. But there was a solid like, did they do this? Because they would have.
So you're like, oh, really? There was somebody that I was
Commitment.
like, there was a whole thing on social media that was like, this family didn't tell the sister that there was a woman, she was pregnant, and she's like, we're gonna tell everybody but keep it from the sister. And they were like, as to prank her, and so they had the baby, and she had she knew nothing, but everyone knew. And I was like, I'd be so livid if like someone pranks me.
It's not really a prank. That's
It was
just
mean.
mean.
At what point does you just get mean? Okay, we're really not talking about FDA stuff anymore. Is there anything else on our
Yeah, we can
fun
go.
little list? What else do we have?
The one other thing is there's more reclassifications for a bunch of devices that we talked about before. They're down classifying stuff related to like electronic stethoscopes and compressible sleeves and light-based over-the-counter wrinkle reduction. The only reason I bring it up now is the comments to that are due next week.
Okay.
I think we got like 5 days before the comment period ends. So, and there's some kind of weird ones on there. So
Weird comments
if
or
you're
weird
interested in
devices?
that sort of thing, I haven't looked at the weird comments yet, but there are weird devices that are being down classified. Like, you know, Sharps containers, laser powered over the counter hair removal, personal lubricants, breast pumps, and just laser comb hairs, massager powered inflatable tube. I'm
Is that for
not
like
even sure what that
like compression socks type thing?
it's no, I think it's like a thoracic like around the back. I actually don't know. So yeah. Yeah, that's kind of Rob, that's kind of what I was thinking too, and I didn't look into it much further.
Austin Powers.
Yeah. So so I didn't want to go find out exactly what kind of personal massager it was. Uh, so
I'm gonna put
anyway,
that. I'll
there's a
put
bunch
that
in there.
chat.
If you're interested in it or you have clients that make those types of devices, and would be interested in it, it's worth commenting because all comments um, get reviewed.
Yeah.
And it's still a proposal. So,
And you remember what Aubrey Schick said of like, it's very useful when you put comments in or if you have something to say, because right now FDA is saying if it's not coming from the public or there's people not pushing for something, stuff is hard to initiate from inside the agency. So,
yes, very much a squeaky wheel gets the grease,
yeah.
which has always been true, but it's especially true now.
Percent.
Cool.
Cool. Well, this has been very productive. And
yeah, we actually talked about some stuff. So see you next week.
And for anyone who's listening or listening after the fact, LinkedIn Live isn't going to change. Like, that's just going to still be the thing. But there will be an update and there will be a new studio link to join. So keep an eye out for that.
Are we doing this on like YouTube and things like that?
Yeah, actually, it is now. I think the most recent one, I think it was with Alexia. That one is on. It's on Spotify, you guys. It's on Spotify and on.
No way! I don't
Apple.
even like and subscribe to my own podcast.
This was never intended to be a podcast, so here we are. You know,
yeah.
Just we'll keep evolving.
Oops, we did. Oops, we did a podcast. My wife literally, when I told her that, she was like, "I'm so disappointed in Allison for letting another white guy have a podcast." So,
she's disappointed in me. Tell Carolyn I'm sorry. So sorry.
So Carolyn is disappointed in you.
Get in line. Tell her to get in line. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too funny. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.